So in this video series, I want to touch on three things: the hooks that I use, the hook technique that I use to set the hook, and then fighting the fish, what I do to mentally beat that fish up to get him to the boat as quick as possible. But the first thing we're going to talk about is hooks. This is a trophy that I got from the 2018 Golden Fly Tournament with Captain Steve Thomas. And I want to show you, as you can see the tarpon's mouth, this is nothing but bone up here, covered with skin, covered with sandpapery type skin. This is really, really hard to penetrate. One thing that I can tell you about tarpon, they like to eat flies in Florida Bay. Two, they don't like to stay stuck. So we have to find a hook that really works, that you can believe in, and then you just will feel good about your cast. Put that part beside. You don't have to worry about it because you know it's going to work. So let's talk about a little bit about Florida Bay. I told you I love to fish Florida Bay. The water is a little milky. I think on a consistent basis, you find bigger fish in Florida Bay. The tournaments that we fish, you're allowed to catch 5 weight fish that have to be a minimum of 80 pounds, and you want to catch the biggest 5 that you can. So I just feel that in Florida Bay, I've got a better chance of catching those larger fish. Also, the water's a little milky. Sometimes it can be a little bit cloudier than milky. You'll see the silhouettes coming through. The fish aren't as aware as they would be if we were on the ocean in clear water. You can make that first cast. If it doesn't work, you can pick it up, as we talked about in the last video, set it back 1, 2, 3, 4 more times. So I love fishing Florida Bay. But now let's talk about the hooks that I like to use. You know, for years, I had been using the Gamakatsu SC15s, the 10-plated version. That's this hook right there. And I've been using the SL12s in the same color. But as I started going to darker flies in Florida Bay, and I'm going to show you a couple of my favorite patterns, I wanted to go to a darker hook as well. So let me show you a few of the patterns that I like. These aren't my patterns. A lot of people use them, but I really, really like them a lot. This is a black mag strip bunny fly, bunny tail, with a woven head that I just spin around here. It's a big body fur. It's got a little bit of mylar already in it, and it's on a 2.0 Tiemco SP600 hook. As you can see, this is the SP600 hook. This is one of my favorite flies. This again, same pattern, but as you can see, it's tied with a purple bunny strip and the same head, still tied on the same fly or the same hook. I love these Tiemco SP600s. So let's talk about why I like this hook. It sticks. It comes right out of the sack, sticks right into your finger, and I'm fanatical about that, especially when it comes to tournaments. So when we were getting ready to fish this tournament, I ordered 100 of these hooks. They come in packs, so I got enough for 100 of them. I went through each one of those hooks, and it either stuck my finger immediately, and I kept it, or if it stuck and slid, I got rid of it. In a tournament, I don't want to use a hook that isn't just going to stick immediately, because like I said, mentally, I've got to believe that that's going to work. So went through all that, probably got about 60 hooks. 60% of them worked really well for me, or at least I felt they were. So Steve and I talked about what we were going to be doing. I knew we were going to be fishing. We both fished the same areas a lot. But he said to me, "You're probably not going to like the fly that I'm going to use." I said, "Why not? Aren't we going to use a typical bunny fly?" And he said, "No." He had been throwing another fly. Since it's his pattern, I can't show it. But let me tell you, it was as large as this, if not a little bit larger, but it was so much thicker. It was a really, really big, thick fly. It was hard to throw. So we needed to make sure that we had a hook big enough. So we actually went to the 3.0s and almost sometimes the 4.0s, these TM600 SPs. And I got to tell you, they stayed stuck really well. One thing I like about this hook too, you'll notice at the point, it bends down just a hair, or if you're at this side, it bends up just a hair. Now, what do I like about that? When it gets in the fish's mouth and you pull, me again, mentally, I just feel like that little bit of extra turn is forcing that hook up in and getting stuck in his belly. And I got to tell you, something happened in that tournament that I never would have thought possible. Never seen happen before. And I've caught a lot of tarpon. This big fish that we caught, I think it was 143, that got us this trophy. We had it up to the boat. I could see that he was hooked up here at the top of his nose, which I call button hook. My favorite place to hook the fish. You have no idea where it's going to be. It's going to find its place and it's going to get in there. But for us, it was hooked right here. I'm sliding him to Steve on the surface. Just as he's going to lip gap it, the tarpon saw the boat, did 3 or 4 big head shakes. And Steve was like, "Oh no," you know, because the fish, I had to walk him back in the water. But I wasn't too shook because I'd already seen something that Steven hadn't seen because he was focusing on that there. I saw something that I've never seen before. This hook had penetrated through his bone and has come out the other side. There was no way that fish was going to fall off. I brought his head right back to Steve. We got it. We did all the measurements. And as we're trying to release it, I went to try to get the fly out of the fish's mouth while Steve was trying to revive it. I couldn't get the fly back out. It was so far in there that I had to get pliers to pull it back out. It was not going to come out. I've never seen a hook do that before. Never had that happen before, but I have had that happen a few times since in different parts of the fish's mouth. This hook is that sharp that it penetrates through the bone. I've never seen anything like that. So in the tournaments, I love the 600 SP, but there are other hooks that are out there. This hook is a little bit more expensive. Gamakatsu also has got a new hook. I think they came out with it last year. It's the SL12 short. It's another dark hook. I love using the dark hooks on the dark flies, and it, right out of the bag, is sharp as a tack. Now, I haven't used a ton of these very often. I've tied a lot of my flies with them now going forward because they're so sharp. I know a lot of people that have used them. They love them. They've had great success with them. I'm just a creature of habit, so I love my 600 SPs. I got to tell you, I've never broken one. I've never bent one. I've never rolled the tip. They just stay stuck. So whether you want to use the 600 SP or the new SL12 shorts, it's up to you. It's your decision. These are both great hooks. I would recommend either. So give them a try. If you're going to tie a few flies and you're going to be in muddy water or you're going to be in an area where a dark hook won't offend the fish, try either the Tiemco or the new SL12. I think you're going to be really successful. I think you're going to love the way that this thing stays in the fish's mouth. So tie a few, give it a try. I think you're going to be really happy with it.